I told my bridesmaids right off the bat that I don't want a bachelorette party. I wouldn't mind a nice dinner out with my bridesmaids, but I don't want some big crazy movie party, which they were all disappointed about. For the last year and a half, my maid of honor, who we will call Susan, has been trying to convince me to have a bachelorette party at a male strip club or at this club or that club, and each time I tell her no, I don't want it. I feel like Jon Snow talking about the Iron Throne with how many times I've told her no. Come to find out, her and my other bridesmaids have been planning this big elaborate party for me that's tonight. I got a text from Susan last night asking to meet her at her house tonight at 8 for some girl time, but another friend texted me and said they were going to ambush me with a bachelorette party. Susan spent a lot of money booking and paying for this party and would probably drop out of my wedding if I don't go, but at no point had I ever hinted that I wanted this. I've always outwardly said no. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't go to my own bachelorette party? Wow, they're a-holes if they didn't listen to you. It's your wedding, and you repeatedly asked for a quiet meal with them. They didn't respect your wishes. I'd say not the a-hole, but you know that not going will cause a lot of drama. I know it will, but I'd rather have drama in my small group of friends than be in a setting that makes me panic. I don't like big club settings, bars, anywhere with alcohol really. I can thank childhood trauma and an alcoholic parent for that one. Dude, counter-surprise them. Invite them all over to your house for some girl time and a comfortable dinner, then some Netflix binge. Make sure you write a long, lovey note about how much a quiet night with them means to you and how you value that they respect you need for a small, intimate, calm night. That'll show them. Not the a-hole, but you can go and don't do anything you're not comfortable with. So no strip club etc. When a stripper comes, send him away or leave yourself. You've been clear to your friends, show 'em you mean business. If they want to see a stranger's wiener, they can do that without you. I don't like big club settings, bars, anywhere with alcohol really. I can thank childhood trauma and an alcoholic parent for that one. OP in another comment. If OP truly does not like clubs and the maid of honor keep asking about going to clubs, the party will most definitely be in a club, which will make OP uncomfortable, so I do not think that she will be able to participate without being uncomfortable and being forced out of her comfort zone. Not the a-hole. You're the bride. You have conveyed clearly what you want for a bachelorette party. You didn't want anything crazy, and yet she still pushed for it, which I think is very selfish. I have heard some people tell me that bachelor parties are not merely just for the groom bride to be's. But still, it is very inconsiderate to push through something you have already explicitly said that you're against. She wants this party, then she can have it, since it's obvious she wants it. Honestly, if my maid of honor pulled something like this, I think I would reconsider her position for maid of honor. But of course, you know her best, OP. And still up to you, but all I'm saying is it is understandable if you don't go to the bachelorette party because it is a type you wouldn't have wanted. I, 27, got engaged to my fiancé in December 2019, around the same time as my best friends forever Chelsea, 27. We decided that we'd be each other's maid of honor. Chelsea and her ex split up shortly after the engagement because he cheated. My fiancé and I started planning a laid-back full wedding a couple months ago. I asked Chelsea if she was still up to being maid of honor, she excitedly said yes. A few days later, she sent me a list of dates for a wedding shower at the place hers was originally scheduled at. I told her we weren't planning on a shower because a lot of our friends' family were hit hard by the pandemic. She was upset, but let it go. Something similar happened with the dress shopping. She had a list of places ready to go. I told her I wanted my friend, who is a seamstress, to make the dress. She convinced me to go shopping anyway, then ended up trying a lot of the dresses herself. I was weary when she mentioned a bachelorette party, but she presented plans that seemed perfect, a hike, a nice dinner, then a drive-in movie with my dog. I agreed. She picked me up on Saturday, but instead of driving to the park we were supposed to hike in, she took me to a lake house. My heart dropped because I knew she'd planned a house party. Lo and behold, I walked in and my bridesmaids were there, as well as the women who I suspect Chelsea would have picked as bridesmaids. There was also a lot of liquor. I don't drink. My mother is an alcoholic, and I want to avoid the same fate. Well, I don't mind being around people who are drinking, it's uncomfortable and depending on the situation, triggering. When I walked in, Half the people there were already drunk. To make matters worse, Chelsea neglected to tell me until 9 p.m. that she planned to stay the night. My fiancé was out of town and I had no one to watch my dog. Chelsea said he'll probably be okay, it's only one night. Long story short, my future brother-in-law came and picked me up and took me home. I didn't tell Chelsea myself, she was trashed at that point and asked one of my bridesmaids to. Yesterday, I woke up with 20+ texts and calls from Chelsea and a few others asking where I was and if I was okay. I texted Chelsea back, who told me she was headed to my place to talk. As soon as she walked through the door she started berating me, telling me she put so much effort into that party and I was so ungrateful. She told me that she wished I were a normal bride. Admittedly, I thought she was coming to apologize and I lost my shit. I told her I'd been walking on eggshells and compromising so I didn't hurt her feelings, but I wouldn't anymore and that she needed to stop living vicariously through me and planning what she'd want for her own wedding. She called me a bitch and a bad friend and left. We haven't spoken since. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I can forgive the dress shopping. That's not that big of a deal and understandable. But that fact that she lied about the bachelorette party is not okay. She knew you didn't drink yet made that a main focus. And then didn't let you know that she wasn't going to give you a ride home, which would harm your dog and inconvenience your brother-in-law. She's out of line. I'd honestly demote her from maid of honor. She clearly can't handle it after not getting her own wedding. She needs to take several steps back and stop sabotaging your special events. The dress shopping still ended up being an okay day, though my future mother-in-law was like, what the hell is happening? I had reservations about having a bachelorette party in the first place and had specifically told her no alcohol. That's what got me in the end. That being said, I don't believe she set out to sabotage anything. She absolutely did sabotage. She lied to you about the bachelorette plans and did the one thing you specifically didn't want to partake of. She didn't do any of this for you, but for herself. She needs to be removed from wedding involvement or she will find some way to shine a spotlight on herself at your wedding. Not the a-hole, but you definitely should have had a hard conversation with her before the bachelorette party when it reached that boiling point. I agree. I shy away from confrontation, but this has been a lesson for me. It's on both of us if our relationship is irreparable. Don't take all this criticism. I don't think a conversation before the party was needed because she led you to believe she had created an adventure day about and for you. And despite all the other issues, you were fine with how things were going. This person deliberately manipulated you. I ain't even mad about y'all's yelling match. She was selfish and way out of line regardless of the other issues. Do not give her any more power by making yourself smaller. Not the a-hole. She took you somewhere without your permission with no planning around you, the bride, and you had to find your own way home. So brutal. This girl is so selfish and if she doesn't realize that you are better off without her. Hello. So, I was a bridesmaid in a wedding months ago. The bride was pregnant, so we didn't have a bachelorette party and instead, planned one post-baby. The girls Venmo'd me their part. We paid for the bride's share, so she paid zero. Backstory, there were 5 bridesmaids. One of them, let's call her Debbie Drama, brought her boyfriend as a +1. He was neither there for the bride or the groom. This wedding was absolutely gorgeous, in a vineyard, open bar, bride and groom paid for the bridal and groomsmen's hotel for the weekend, and a wine tour for us and our +1s including their family aka big money. We got there on a Friday, wedding on Sunday, check out Monday. Debbie and boyfriend were both there the whole weekend. Well, come wedding day, Debbie's boyfriend gets everybody's attention right after bride's dad made a heartfelt speech and uses that time to propose to Debbie. Tacky cringe. Everyone was shocked and furious, which is obviously justified. B and G have a verbal altercation with Debbie and Debbie's boyfriend and tell them to check out and leave mid-wedding. They're no longer friends, still. So back to the bachelorette weekend. I get a call saying the trip has been cancelled and I'm getting a refund and credits for future use. I forwarded the email to the 5 bridesmaids and bride so they can read about it. I get a call from the bride furious that I'm giving Debbie her money back and travel credits. I told her I'd be giving Debbie back her money but not credits. She says I shouldn't give her anything because she ruined her wedding. I technically blame her boyfriend and not Debbie per se, but I also never liked Debbie, so it's whatever to me. I told the bride she doesn't get a say in this because she's not paying for the trip. The bride almost feels like her and her husband are due the money, although she hasn't directly asked for it. There's definitely an implication though. I have no clue what the right thing to do is, but I'm going to give Debbie back her money. Does that make me an a-hole? P.S. Worth it to say, Debbie hasn't tried to reach out to any of us or ask me about the trip since the wedding. Edit. A couple things worth mentioning. Debbie was not in on the proposal, but she is not remorseful. Debbie told the bride and groom that, this isn't verbatim, but close to what she said, you guys should be proud and flattered that you got to be a part of my proposal instead of being selfish jerks. After he proposed, she instructed the photog to take pics, then pulled him out into a vineyard thing to take pictures of them as an engagement shoot. The B&G had to pull them aside and tell them how tacky what they were doing was. They argued, then they ended up asking them to leave. It's also worth it to note that Debbie is the groom's stepsister. They are not close at all. The parents got married when they were adults. Debbie was good friends with the bride in childhood, and the bride asked her to be a bridesmaid in good faith since she was marrying her stepbrother. Also, we jokingly said, as penance, we should all show up to Debbie's wedding in wedding dresses. What do you guys think? Not the a-hole, you should give Debbie her part of everything. The bride doesn't get to financially punish Debbie because she's mad. That's just childish. The bride feels like, because they paid for X amount for our wedding accommodations, that she's due some of that money as a return for fucking up her wedding. Then the bride needs to have that conversation separately. Basically, if you withheld that money it puts you in a bad spot. She paid for something, it was cancelled and refunded, she's entitled to her portion of the refund. The fact that Debbie and her boyfriend suck doesn't change how these things work. Edit. Oh duh, my vote. Not the a-hole, the bride is for the pressure she's putting on you. Not the a-hole. Her boyfriend was the one that killed the mood, not her. I doubt she wanted to steal the spotlight in the first place, and I think the bride is taking too much out on Debbie, despite her not being the most tasteful person in your eyes. You're doing the right thing, and hopefully they can work it out, because Debbie's boyfriend is the one that should be slandered for this. Debbie paid for it, so it's fair to reimburse her. The bride doesn't have a say in it despite a ruined, sure it could have left a mark, but ruined is surely overkill, wedding. The bride and everyone else could look at it this way. If you pay her back, you are honest and fair. It's the easiest, and a relatively cheap, way to buy her out of your lives. Don't spend too much energy on someone clearly so self-centered.